Fruits are often thought of as sweet and something to be consumed in moderation, but not all fruits are the same when it comes to their effect on insulin levels. Some fruits barely spike insulin at all. This is due to the ratio of glucose, sucrose, and fructose they contain, as well as other factors like polyphenols and compounds that can affect insulin sensitivity. Glucose is the type of sugar that really spikes insulin levels quickly. Sucrose is a combination of glucose and fructose, so it still affects blood glucose, but not as much as pure glucose would. Fructose, while still a sugar, does not trigger the release of insulin like glucose does. However, too much fructose has been linked to fatty liver disease and other issues, so it's still important to limit fruit intake to about a half cup to a cup per day. Avocados, while often thought of as a fat, barely spike insulin levels. Studies have shown that eating just half a fresh avocado, along with a meal, significantly lowers the insulin response 30 minutes and 3 hours after the meal. This is likely due to the fat and fiber content slowing down digestion. But there's also a compound in avocados called avocatin B that helps support how the mitochondria utilize fat. This leads to full oxidation of fatty acids and less circulating fat in the bloodstream, which improves insulin sensitivity. Apples, despite being sweet, have a very low glycemic index. An average apple contains about 15 to 25 grams of total carbohydrates, with only 5 to 8 grams of that being glucose. Eating half an apple before a meal has been shown to slow down the insulin response. This is due to polyphenols in apples that inhibit the glucose transporter SGLT1, as well as the fiber content that feeds the microbiome and produces short-chain fatty acids that help with glucose tolerance. Cherries have one of the lowest glycemic indexes of any fruit, around 22. They are predominantly fructose and also contain polyphenols that affect glucose metabolism. Additionally, cherries stimulate AMPK, an energy sensor that acts like a vacuum to suck up glucose from the bloodstream. Anthocyanins in cherries have also been shown to increase glucose uptake into the liver and slow down the breakdown of complex carbs. Grapefruit is another low glycemic fruit with only 6 to 7 grams of glucose in an entire large grapefruit. It also contains a hefty amount of fiber. Studies have shown that eating grapefruit or drinking grapefruit juice before a meal improves insulin sensitivity and lowers the insulin response. This is likely due to a compound called naringin that acts as an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. Guava, while thought of as a tropical fruit, has a high fructose content and barely spikes insulin. Studies have shown that guava leaf tea can inhibit the breakdown of carbs and affect an enzyme involved in the breakdown of glucose. The polyphenols in guava likely carry through to the fruit itself. Finally, raspberries are the best berry when it comes to insulin response. While they contain about 15 to 16 grams of carbs per cup, 8 grams of that is fiber. Raspberries also contain tannins that inhibit the breakdown and absorption of starches. In summary, avocados, apples, cherries, grapefruit, guava, and raspberries are all fruits that barely spike insulin levels due to their high fructose and fiber content, as well as the presence of polyphenols and other compounds that improve insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. Incorporating these fruits into the diet in moderation can be a good way to satisfy a sweet tooth without causing a big insulin spike.